G'day, Aussie Gridiron fans. Welcome to the Gday Gridiron podcast. Week 1 of the NFL season is upon us. We've got 6 games to preview. We've got a little bit of news, and we have some best bets for you coming right up. Good evening, Brad. Week 1 of the NFL season, mate. Can you believe we're finally here?
Christmas is here. It has arrived. I feel like that kid every year. I just feel like that kid who just can't wait to open his presents, and it's the night before, and I am so stoked to be able to unwrap an amazing Cowboys butt whooping. They're the ones that's going to get their butt whooped, but that's okay.
It is, mate. This is the time of year where it's like equal parts excitement, anticipation, or trepidation, I guess you could say, if you really want to go for the big words, but also just that, it's that excitement really that gets me all the time. It's those, you don't know what's going to happen, so there's your trepidation, but your excitement of like, it's back, it's finally back. Is my team going to be good enough? Have I, all that time we've spent pondering about all off season, just reading about them doing things and watching them in training camp, and we're finally here, and the rubber meets the road, Brad, and we finally see whether or not your team's good enough. We know yours isn't going to be, and we've got to find you a gap year team for sure. So
we do.
Over the next couple of weeks, we do definitely have to find Brad a gap year team for 2025. But the Vikings, man, I'm so keen for it. We're going to talk a little bit about the Vikings football tonight. So
yeah, we got a good slate of games that we're going to talk about. So hold on to your seats, everybody. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Now, of course, you are hopefully listening to this on Saturday, Australian time. So we're recording this on Thursday night before a couple of the games have been played, like Eagles, Cowboys, as Brad sort of mentioned, a butt whooping. Hopefully that's what has happened in Philadelphia by the time you are listening to this. This is how we're going to do our shows this season. We will record Thursday, Friday night to release on Saturday. Some previews for Sunday slates of games, and always Monday Night Football, which we'll follow up, plus a bit of news, a little bit of betting lines we'll have. You'll find a couple of best bets in amongst all of our previews this season. And then on Tuesday, you'll hear myself, someone else, whether it's Brad, whether it's Isaac, whether it's Nick, whether it's whoever wants to jump on with me for our overreaction show and a preview of Thursday Night Football. That's how we're going to go for our slate this season, at least for the first part of the season, Brad. We might massage it a little bit along the way. It's going to be like Play-Doh. We're going to be like playing with Play-Doh here and molding it as we go.
Yeah, I'll take it. It'll be a Deshaun Watson massage. So
correct. I was trying to find a good analogy, and you just found a great one for me. Thank you, Brad.
No worries. Who
just like
doesn't?
a Deshaun Watson massage, we may have to go back to different people 23 times as well.
Yeah.
But we'll get there in the end. Hopefully that's what's going to work for us this season. We're going to try and keep these shows a little bit shorter as well, a little bit more digestible. Maybe you might be able to listen to them on your commute to work in the morning, since we'll be dropping early mornings. So hopefully you do that, or even you commute home. I sometimes quite like to chuck on an NFL podcast on my way home from work, on my half-hour drive home from work. I find that it's just something interesting to listen to in the background, and I guess decompress my brain from a day of just being bombarded with nonsense at work. So
yeah. Do you, besides us being the obvious one that we want everybody to go to, do you have a favorite, a go-to, or do you just kind of bounce around for NFL podcasts?
No, I've got a couple. The main one these days is actually the Heed the Call podcast.
I don't think I know that one. What's that one? So
that's a couple of guys, Dan Hansis and Mark Sessler, who are formerly of the Around the NFL podcast, which was a NFL media podcast. Those guys got let go from NFL media in amongst a whole bunch of other people late last year. Year before. And yeah, they ended up getting picked up on Underdog last year to start Heed the Call. Now they've just signed a huge deal with Auditory. Pretty sure it is.
Audible?
No, I think sure it's Auditory or
Okay.
something like that. So, I
Okay.
can't remember. It's one of those massive sort of podcast networks.
Yeah.
Just have a
Right.
look.
Mm-hmm.
That I would love to be a part of.
Yeah. One day, hey, good things come to those who wait.
Yeah, it's one of those, but they've just been signed that, and yeah, they're huge. These guys are, I think, they're in the top 10 in sports podcasts.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. So they're big.
Yeah, so they're pretty big. Great guys to listen to. I've been listening to them for a long time. The Around the NFL podcast was one of the first ones that I sort of picked up when I started really getting into NFL football. They've taught me a lot about football, a lot about different sorts of teams. I guess it's shaped a lot of narrative in my own brain of how the NFL world works and what teams are made up of and things. So, yeah, been through a lot of highs and lows with those guys. It's been an interesting journey. You get attached to some people when you listen to them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you totally do. I get that.
Yeah, so there was a great man that was part of that crew called Chris Wrestling. He passed away just a couple of years ago, a few years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
amazing writer, like one of the truly great long form writers he ended up being, and the story of finding him was amazing. But he wrote some amazing things. He always talked about things that would really make you think about the game and why we were doing certain things. He wasn't just always just regurgitating nonsense like some of the media ones do now. Yeah, and I remember I was a sales rep when he passed from cancer, and when they came on, they did a podcast like the day after, and sort of told the listeners and stuff. I remember pulling over, Brad, and actually tears welling up because I'd spent a lot of time listening to these guys. And
absolutely, no, I get that. It's you feel like you know them.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm right there with you. I think I remember hearing him on a couple. I think he did like some guest stuff on some other podcasts. Yeah, and I thought this guy is good. He is really good. And then I remember hearing about his passing, and obviously I didn't listen to him nearly as long as you did. But it's one of those things. I think whenever you hear about somebody passing away and all that kind of stuff, it's weird how we do have a sense of we know that person, even though all we've ever done is it's been a one-way conversation, than us just listening to them. But that's what sports is about. It's just about connecting and getting to know people. And so you, the listener, hopefully you guys feel connected to us, and if you have anything to say, don't be afraid to reach out and
absolutely
message us.
Yeah, absolutely. I really hope people do start feeling connected to us. We are starting to get a lot more listens on the entire network at the moment, and you can find the rest of the network and some social pages and things at linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network, of course. And if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple right now, we're on YouTube. Where you can listen to the other podcasts on YouTube. We're the only one so far that's putting out a visual medium, which we sort of really wanted to do this year. So you can do that, and we're starting to get a lot of traction thanks to some real heavy hitting that Taylor's been doing specifically with Supercoach and getting new listeners in and new followers. So if you're not one of those people that actually has hit that follow button on Spotify or Apple yet, please do. Turn on automatic downloads as well, because that all helps us. It makes sure that stuff hits your feed as soon as it comes out, and it's there and ready for you to listen to. Plus, it just shows up in our numbers, and it helps us get to where we want to do. We just do this for fun. Yeah. We don't get paid to do it. We don't have ads, because you'll notice that there are no ads in any of our products if you listen to our show or fantasy or any type of one that's out on the Aussie Gridiron Network. So we don't have any of that. We don't get money from it. In fact, we pay money to do this in a way.
Yeah, right. It's quite the opposite.
It's quite the opposite. But we do this for fun. A lot of time it's because we just like talking ball.
Yeah.
If you're like me, I like getting to sit down with some friends once or twice a week, and we just talk for an hour or two, sometimes 3. Sometimes we're talking longer offline than we are online, like as in a green room than we are recording.
Yeah.
So we just do this. So if you are liking what you're hearing, as I said, as I rambled, please do like, follow, hit your automatic downloads on Apple Podcasts, that kind of stuff, because it all helps us. It all helps us get out there to new people. Also, suggest us. If you've got friends out there in the world that listen to NFL podcasts, or they do, and you like what you're listening to, suggest us to a mate,
Yeah.
And, bring more people on board. Get involved. Speaking of get involved, Brad, before we hit some news, you know what? Only a couple of games have been played at this point. If you're listening Saturday morning, here you can still have time to join the tipping comp and probably win it.
Yes. Yes.
There's a lot of people out there in that tipping comp already, but you know what? Jump in there anyway. Go to ESPN Footy Tips in Australia, or basically ESPN Footy Tipping, and search for Aussie Gridiron Network, or go to the link tree. The link's still up there. Join up, have a go, see how you go anyway. There is some big prizes on offer, including a custom NFL jersey. So we'll give all sorts of things away, but also stick with us because we're planning on running another couple of competitions during the season. We've been talking about a few things, so there'll be other chances to win some stuff. So get involved.
Yeah, and we're the tipping. We want it to grow as much as possible. We've already picked up a fair few people just over the last day, so it's been great.
Has been. Well, I'll tell you what. I did not expect that for the start of a week one preview podcast, Brad, but a little bit of self-reflection, a little bit of love for people out there. So, you know what? A little bit more. We've got only a tiny bit of news tonight. There's not much going on that's not just typical boring NFL news at this point because we are gearing up for week one.
Yeah.
Rule changes is about the only thing we could sort of find that might have been sort of interesting to just cover before we hit the season. So, Brad, rule changes for 2025. Let's go through a couple of things. The dynamic kickoff rules have been confirmed for 2025. And what does that mean? Because obviously we had dynamic kickoff rules in 2024. Last year was a 1-year trial that has been largely successful. So they have essentially brought that into play as an actual rule from 2025 onwards. They've massaged them slightly so that kicking out on the fall off a kickoff is actually out to the 35 now, not the 30, I think it was. And then teams are still lining up opposite each other. I think there was something in there. I didn't quite read in depth into it a lot, but I think there was something in there now about teams not moving off the line until the kicker has kicked the actual ball. So
Okay,
a bit of that. And they can be penalised for it. And they're all going to be, the team's actually all got to be lined up on the line. So the kicking team has to be lined up on the line before the kick. So you can't have people behind the line and running before the line. Basically, they're not allowed to move until the ball is kicked.
Yeah.
So pretty similar to any kind of snap. You're not allowed to have pre-snap motion in a way. There can't be a lot of motion going on the line without chance for your opposition to react.
Yeah, this is not Canada. You can't run up to the line. So, yeah, it's good.
Although, we're used to that in rugby league, it's a lot more fun.
It creates an added dynamic. That's for sure. That's for darn
when
sure.
you have a front rower running from 5 or 6 meters back from where the ball's getting kicked, and then they are coming full steam at you by the time you're catching a ball. That adds a lot of dynamic, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh, and that's exactly what the NFL's trying to avoid. That they want more returns, which ironically will create more collisions, but they want those collisions to be more of a controlled impact. So I get why they're doing it, and it'll be good to see. I think anything that's going to create more returns is a good thing in my opinion. So
they reckon they threw out such numbers like 43% success rate last season in terms of successful returns, kick returns.
Okay. Yep.
So I think they base successful kick return as in they gain past the 35. So you gain past the line you would if you just kicked it out.
Okay.
So,
yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Overtime rules, Brad, has been a big one. The overtime rules have changed. So starting this season, both teams are guaranteed at least one possession, even if the first team scores a touchdown on their first drive. So this basically brings overtime rules for regular season games in line with what we have currently seen the last few seasons in playoff scenarios.
This is a long time coming. I'm old enough I remember the days when it was basically first team score wins, so it felt like it just always came down to a coin flip, and then of course they morphed to the if the team gets a field goal, then the other team gets a try, and now no matter what, both teams are getting a try. So I think it's just the way it had to be. So hats off to the NFL for adapting and trying something. This is one rule that I hope just stays, and I think it should.
Yeah, so do I, mate. It just seemed very logical after the success of the playoff overtime rules. So it seemed like a logical progression. So. The referees and some new technology, Brad. So the Stripes get some new technology. 6 8K cameras will track the ball at every stadium in the NFL this season using Hawkeye virtual measuring system for first downs, and results will be shown on scoreboards. Chains will remain on the sideline, but league says it will cut the measurement time in half. So it's such a logical progression in 2025 to have more digital means, especially when Hawkeye technology has been used for a very, very long time in tennis to pretty successfully pinpoint whether a ball is in or out. And we're talking a very small tennis ball on a very thin line.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is a long time coming as well. It's just, I think that with the advent of technology and everything, you had to go towards this route. I like the fact they're still keeping the chains on the sidelines. There's something nostalgic about that, and most people don't know that those guys that run the chains, those are usually high school referees that they get paid to do that. So they're not just some guy they pulled in off the street. They're usually the number one high school refs in that local area. So it's great to see, that they get to stay employed and all that. And typically they're the retired refs. That's why everybody always gets kind of concerned when you see them getting run over on the sidelines. Everybody kind of rushes to them because, you've got 82-year-old Billy Bob who you don't want him breaking a hip on the sideline right then and there. So I like the fact that they're doing that. It keeps it nostalgic and that kind of thing. But you're right. It had to go towards this. And if it's faster, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, 100%. And I like the nostalgia of the chain still being there. I think it gets us to a good spot, basically. Using actual technology for referees is logical. And the next sort of progression we should get to once we start using actual cameras, 8K cameras, and proper technology for referees is what we're getting to next, and a replay assist. A replay assist will expand for this season. It's now going to cover face mask penalties, horse collar tackles, tripping, roughing the kicker. So all those things can now be overturned by officials if the video clearly shows no foul occurred. So this is a great thing. Again, we've got more technology. It will make the game faster, and it will make it better officiated, Brad.
Absolutely. I think anything that can eliminate human error. Some people will say, "Oh no, human error, it's a part of the game and stuff." Bull crap. I don't want my game to be decided one way or the other through human error. I want every opportunity we can. So now they tried something like this when you remember they had the pass interference calls after the whole New Orleans debacle when they got jobbed over a PI call. And that didn't quite work. So this is, I think, but that didn't work for a different set of reasons. I think technology is better now than what it was, and especially on some of these, because I think roughing the passer is also one that they can review, and that's the one I really hope that they kind of just let it go a little bit more, because so often it's just these ticky-tack fouls, I felt like. So let them play, in my opinion. The quarterback's part of the game. I know that they're the face, but get touched a little bit. So
My only problem with these rule changes now is the
mm.
wording, and it is basically that officials can overturn these decisions. So essentially,
Okay.
you have to call a face mask penalty, and then they can take that. They can pick up the flag if it wasn't one,
Okay.
or a horse collar or tripping, etc.
Yep.
So roughing the passer is one that I think that we could really evolve on a lot better, and I think it's one that we could retroactively penalise for if we haven't taken the next snap, for instance. So not necessarily review it, but I think someone needs to be going on a replay assist, going, hang on, you guys need to have a look at that. Not necessarily making a call from New York and saying that it is. I think that they need to make a call to the referee to say, I think there's something in that last one that you need to look at. And then the head referee can go over, have a look at the video and decide whether or not they need to actually issue a flag for something like roughing the passer. Because we've seen too many blatant roughing the passer calls not get called and really decide games.
Yes.
There was one last season against Sam Darnold and the Vikings, where he basically had his head taken off and they didn't call anything. So because they didn't call anything, they can't pick up a flag. So they can't take one back. And they can't issue one.
Right.
On a blatant miss. And it's not trying to make the game like less officiated by the guys on the field. It's trying to eliminate that human error, I think, and again, like you said, Brad, not have a game decided by clear and obvious penalties.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. Round ball game has a lot of that sort of stuff in it as well. It has to be clear and obvious, and that's the big wording in it. It has to be clear and obvious. But it's also, they use the replay assist to say to the referee in the middle, there's something in that I think you need to review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the guy in the middle is still in charge. He's still in control. Yeah. We're just using technology to assist, basically. So, all right, that is the news for week 1.
Aussie.
It might be pretty obvious, but I am not Matty C.
NFL.
Absolutely stoked to have it on the podcast, mate. Welcome.
Fantasy.
Tay, I think it's time you just abused your mate here.
Would you rather be fighting zombies or aliens?
Find hidden gems.
And with that, we're into some breakouts.
I'm glad you're stalling because my results last week were a hot piece of ass.
We all had our struggles, mate.
We've unzipped the Penix and it's time to put the Penix in the pit. Let's do it.
I'm taking Trey McBride.
I'm just leaning on the old tuck shop, tuck graft.
And all of a sudden, he's just lighting them up.
Catch starts of the week.
I'm just going to go ahead and take Goff at Chicago.
So I'm going to go running back. I'm going to take Travis Etienne.
I'm going to go ahead and take your boy Ty Tracy.
I'm going to take Adam Thielen.
So I'm going to go and take Richo against Tennessee.
I'll take Matt Stafford.
Just a little float out the Dalton Kincaid.
I'm actually going to take Caleb against the Lions.
Friday and Sunday all season long. The Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
Thanks to the Aussie Gridiron Network.
Good to give me the dance floor. I'll probably fucking snap the floorboards.
What we do have from here, though, Brad, are some week 1 previews. You threw out earlier to me Steelers at Jets. That is Aaron Rodgers versus Justin Fields, each one taking on their old team.
Yeah. This is it's an intriguing game. Part of this is I did have to throw it out because of one of our American listeners, Big Lance, who is a huge Steelers fan. But I just feel like, it's got a lot of narratives because you got former Steelers QB Justin Fields playing against former Jets QB Aaron Rodgers, or not against, but the teams are against each other. The only thing that I'm kind of bummed out about this is in the U.S. parlance, this is the late afternoon slot. So it's not really even a primetime game. So I wish it had a little bit more of a feature to it. But, this is kind of I feel like the Pittsburgh's last gasp at being a really relevant team. I don't see how they can keep limping along like this. Let me throw some stats at you. Pittsburgh 11-6-1 under Mike Tomlin in season openers. So they're 6th in the league over that span. So he gets the teams ready, and then that combine that with an Aaron Rodgers who is a cerebral quarterback. If he's ready in terms of warmed up and all that kind of stuff, and had enough experience with the preseason, then you could see a pretty decent game from him. The one that I found that was interesting, though, is that Pittsburgh is 7-1-1 out of those games. They're 7-1-1 when they're the favorite. So when they're the favorite going into the first game of the season, they do really, really well. So it would not surprise me to see them eke a little bit out on this. I believe the betting line on this is it 2.5? I think it is. I think the Steelers are having to give 2.5. So I would still lean the Steelers on this, just because I think Rodgers is going to become ready. I think Fields is he's going to need to find his feet a little bit. It's going to take him, I think, just a little bit to get going. But it's going to be an interesting matchup. And if Fields can run the ball, if he can use his legs, then that's going to keep the Jets in this game. Of course, Jets lose Elijah Vera Tucker, their starting guard. He has another triceps injury, different triceps, and he's out for the season. So now you got the interior of that line. So it's odds are he's going to have to scramble a lot more, which I think, at least in a one-game scenario at the beginning of the season, could help the Jets. So it's going to be close, but I'm leaning a little bit more towards Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's good. You are right, 2.5. I don't know, Brad. I don't know if I'm leaning a little bit more. I like those stats. That really changed my mind. Before you threw that out there, I was leaning pretty heavily towards the Jets. I like the Jets' chances this season in a lot of games, or just to be better than they were, just to be not be
that's
the
for
Jets.
sure. Yep,
and a lot of that comes from Aaron Glenn. The guy, I think, he's got a lot of that same Dan Campbell moxie, and I feel like that a lot of that not just came with him. I feel like the two of them were simpatico in that way, the way that they control a team and the way that they're culture builders and all that sort of stuff. So I like that. I really like Justin Fields too. I have liked Justin Fields for a long time, and yeah, I've always thought that he is a really good player, essentially.
He hasn't gotten the. I think you and I've talked about this before on this, so I don't want to belabor it, but he's been put in bad situations. I don't feel like he's ever gotten a fair shake. Yep. So if he can get a fair shake, I think it's going to make a much better opportunity for him. The Jets are going to give it, and I hope he takes it by storm, and the New York media falls in love with him, because I think he's a good dude.
I think he is too. Yeah, and I just think, like some other quarterbacks out there, and this might still be my middling quarterback bias, but yeah, I think he's just been hard done by a lot of teams, or by one team in particular over the years. I really like the idea that Aaron Rodgers might be going to the Steelers, and they're not just throwing everything to the wall, but they haven't tried to make it an Aaron Rodgers team. So it wasn't like when Rodgers came to the Jets a couple of years ago, and all of a sudden they were signing every dude that Rodgers told them to sign. They've basically gone out and signed their own guys that they think will fit for as a Pittsburgh Steeler. And I really like that, so I like their chances. Like I said, Brad, I was still pretty heavily leaning Jets, and they are pretty long favourites, even though it's only 2.5. Actual match betting has the Jets at about 220-ish on Sportsbet. So
okay,
pretty far out. So I don't know, Brad. I haven't done my picks yet, to be honest. It's Thursday night, so I haven't really done my picks yet, and I need to get in and do that. But I am still leaning Jets at home on opening night.
Okay. Yep. That's all right. Yeah. No, I get that.
Have you got anything in a betting line for this? I've got one.
Not for this game. No, I do not.
I've got DK Metcalf anytime TD is sitting at 290 on Sportsbet.
Great pick. Great.
And
Yep.
I just think DK Metcalf, Aaron Rodgers, I think he's going to go to him. He's going to go to him early. They're going to want to show what they've got, and they're going to go that way. So,
And just real quick, piggybacking off of that, that's where I think at the beginning of the season, weeks 1 and 2, when you have these receivers coming over to new teams, so e.g. what you just talked about, with Metcalf coming over to Pittsburgh, with Pickens coming over to the Cowboys, you're going to see them almost being force fed. So I think those anytime touchdowns are good. And of course, our fans will watch this after the fact, but Pickens is one of the bets that I have for an anytime touchdown score, because I think the Cowboys are going to really try and feed him the ball. And I think anytime you get these new receivers coming over, they want to make them successful, because we all know how temperamental receivers can be. So they want to keep them happy. So yeah, I think that's a great bet.
yep. All right, let's move on. The next one we've got, I wanted to have a bit of a talk about Bucks at Falcons.
Yeah.
And this is not just my Baker Mayfield new sort of Tampa Bay love. If I was on a gap year, Brad, I could instantly choose a team.
I love it.
I don't think that it's not about this. I thought that this matchup is interesting. And why? Because I think the Falcons, this is the first year they're going to go into a first full year of Michael Penix. So how is that going to shape out for the team? The Bucks are bringing back nearly everybody, so they're running it back basically with a few new additions, like Ibuka, for example. Mike Evans is still there and going to be an absolute force. He's got a new deal for the next couple of years. And I'm just very interested in to see with both of these teams how they start off the year. It's going to be very interesting to see how Michael Penix starts off a year after a full off season.
Yes.
Being able to sort of install a playbook or run through a playbook better. So how he goes with that, how he looks with his receivers. If he doesn't look great in the first couple of weeks, do they then suddenly shift back to Cousins, who's still sitting there behind him as well? And then, can the Bucks hit the highs of the end of last season? Essentially, Brad, is where I'm at with this one.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think the Penix storyline here is fascinating. Everybody's pretty high on Penix, and deservedly so to a certain degree. But I think what the if I could just pee on your leg a little bit and tell you it's raining. I think what you got to take into account is in his 3 games last season, or in the final 3 games of the season, you got to consider his opponents. He played against the Giants, the Commanders, and the Panthers, who they were 3 of the 8 worst defenses in the league. So the sample size is not that great. He played against bad defenses, and so now he's going up against a Bucks defense who is pretty good. I mean, they're not the Ravens of whatever 2000 Ray Lewis, but they're going to be, I think, the best defense that he's faced. So on the Bucks side of the ball, they've had some injury issues. They don't have Tristan Wirfs, their stud left tackle. They're without the receivers McMillan and Godwin, so they got a lot of pressure on the rookie wideout Mika
Egbuka.
Thank you. Right. Yeah, thank you. And Godwin. So those guys are going to have to carry the load for the receivers on that behind, or with Mike Evans. I shouldn't say. I just think. This is one of those, again, it's a close line. It's a tough game. I love me some Baker. So just when it comes down to it in the clutch, I'm leaning a little bit towards Baker on this one. I tell you what will be exciting. I think it'll be exciting though. It's just the back and forth of it, because Tampa Bay, they averaged like 700 yards a game, third most in the league. Atlanta, 715 yards, fourth most in the league. Falcons only punted 27% of the time on their drives. That's a low punt percentage. So I think you're going to be seeing a lot of up and down the field. If their offenses are in any semblance, typically at the beginning of the season, defenses have a little bit of a favorite because offense is routine and that type of stuff. But with that said, I think Baker and I think the coaching staff for Atlanta is going to have these guys prepared, so it still could be a track meet. It's going to be fun.
Line's at 2.5 for this one too, Brad. But I think the Bucks are heavy favourites, and I'd have to agree with that. Have you picked up any betting lines for this?
No,
I can give you one on this one as well.
Yeah, please do.
I got a lot of dollars last season from Baker Mayfield to 50+ yards, and it's currently paying just over a smidge over $2. Baker Mayfield in the majority of his games last season went over 250 passing yards. The guy had a 45,000 yard passing season. So we're in there for Baker, 250+ yards. I think when we were doing best bets last year, there were several weeks in a row where I went Baker 250 and like 2 or 3 TDs as a multi.
Jeez.
And was getting them too, was hitting them, Brad. So I'm going week 1, Baker 250, give me all the monies.
I like it.
All right. Texans at Rams. Now, Brad, this one came from Isaac. Isaac was going to join us. Last minute couldn't because he picked up another night shift. Don't knock him for that at all. That's some good money.
No.
So he got online this afternoon and recorded a little bit for us. So I will just get the old computer to bring that up now, and we'll share it, and we can play a little bit from Isaac on a setup for his Rams.
Just thought I'd jump on here as I might not be on the podcast tonight and just give you a game preview for Houston versus the Rams. The reason I choose this one is not because it's my Rams. It's because I want to see what the Rams offense looks like against Houston defense. Most notably, Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua versus Houston secondary. Stingley is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Is Matt Stafford healthy? We'll find that out today. What type of offense can McVay cook up? Hopefully we can get some thoughts from Brad and Ian on this one, and they can talk you through it. Thanks, guys.
All right, Brad. He hit the big talking point there. Stafford, Matthew Stafford. Is he healthy?
Yeah. Who knows? Because we don't know because he's barely played any football this summer because of his back. So this game to me is just a recipe to be dominated by defense. The Texans are one of the top, if not the top, defense entering this season, and I think it's going to be a really tall task for the Rams. They're going to have to be incredibly well balanced in their play calling. The thing about the Rams, though, they've been pretty slow starters the last couple seasons under McVay. And so is that going to be able to change, essentially? There's so much of quarterback play is rhythm, and there's no way Stafford's going to have the rhythm. He may, be okay, but he doesn't have the rhythm with these guys. That takes a little while. So unless he's just been doing some amazing, simulation practices, I think it's going to be a real struggle for them. On the other flip side, the Texans, they've installed a new offensive coordinator. So they got rid of Bobby Slowicki or Slowick, however you pronounce it.
Slowick, yeah.
Yeah. And so I think they're going to have some challenges. They don't have Joe Mixon, who's out for the first month of the season. They have a bad offensive line. They got rid of their best offensive lineman. So I think it's going to be really hard for Houston to have any type of a run game, which then means, okay, CJ Stroud is going to be in a lot of, I think, third and long situations, and that Rams pass rush is next level. So, which is, I hate saying that just because they go from Aaron Donald to Jared Verse and company. It's just not fair. So, I think this is going to be a defensive minded game, and it's going to be sloppy on both offenses.
Yeah, I totally agree, mate. Funnily enough, the Rams are favored by 3.5. It's a bigger line this week than any other game. There aren't many games that are like that in week 1. So I don't know whether we see that much of Stafford. I think we're going to see some Jimmy G this week as well.
Ooh. Yeah, right. Okay.
I just think coming in against Houston, I don't know whether it might be see a few Jimmy G drives just to sort of ease him back in, because, like you said, it's hard to get some rhythm. It's hard to get that, and he hasn't been around.
Yeah.
Or if it starts to go on the opposite way, the way that they think that they're not supposed to be going, then they might be pulling him out just to rest him and keep Jimmy going.
Yeah,
So.
no, that's a good point. Can I tell you my bet for this game?
Absolutely, because I don't have a line. So if you've got one, that's perfect.
Oh, yeah. So my bet for this game, and because of that, I think it's going to be a sloppy offense and defensive dominated. I'm taking the under. The fun police is out. So we're taking I believe it's 44.5 is the under. So I'm smashing that under button on this one.
I feel like I need to install a sound drop for Brad taking the under for the fun police.
Wah, wah, wah.
I need some kind of siren, like a police siren, but like a sad police siren.
Yes, I like it
for the fun police. Maybe just the police siren might just do it anyway. But yeah, it should be hilarious. You might hear that right now. So,
I love it. Let's do it.
Find something. Yeah. So 43.5, mate. Yeah, the under. I could see that. I could really see that. Look, if I really wanted to, I was trying to lean towards maybe a Devontae Adams line. I talked about earlier how, like weeks ago, nowhere has he been that he's gotten less than 35% of overall total offensive snaps over the season. So I can't see that changing here, even though Puka Nacua is on the Rams. So I'd probably be leaning towards a Devontae Adams line. I think his over-under is sitting at about 56 or something, which is very low, because I feel like we could see a little bit of Devontae. All right, Brad. We get to the late Sunday games. We're going to quickly talk about Lions at Packers. Big NFC divisional matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. Now, of course, Detroit Lions lose both star coordinators, Aaron Glenn and what's his name?
You're talking Chicago, Johnson,
and Ben Johnson.
Yep.
So they've lost both of those guys. Now, of course, the Packers have one of the youngest teams in the league.
They do.
After picking up Micah Parsons, it looks like they are really swinging for the fences. They go for a big sort of Reggie White-esque trade, and they're bringing in guys, sort of older guys. They're not trying to breed, sort of develop them there. They're bringing in guys to really go for it. But Micah Parsons might not be playing this week, Brad, because they're saying he actually does have a lower back injury and is getting pain injections to help him manage that injury.
How ironic would it be if that injury is like real and it keeps him out like half the season or something?
Apparently, it is genuinely real.
Oh my gosh, I would feel so bad for him. I just after all this flack that he's caught. Yeah, I was always of the mindset No, he's it's not a back thing. He's going to play, all this and that. And he's been practicing with the team.
Yeah.
So, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I'm expecting him to play. I guess it would more surprise me if he doesn't play. But you're saying that, you're hearing reports that it's a legitimate injury. Anytime a guy's getting injections, that's not good. That's not a good thing.
A facet joint injury is what it says.
Yeah, well, I've been flaccid. I've had a flaccid joint injury, but sorry.
A facet joint injury.
Oh, facet.
Facet.
Oh, okay.
F-A-C-E-T.
Oh, sorry.
Joint injury involves damage or irritation to the small joints that connect the vertebrae of your spine,
Oh, all right.
causing symptoms like localized spinal pain, stiffness, and restricted movement, which is none of which are good for a pass rusher.
No. No, they're not.
I think if you're an offensive or a defensive lineman, you could probably get through life with that kind of injury pretty easily. But as a defensive lineman, no. As
No.
like a pass rusher, no. An end, no.
No. This is it's one of those games where I feel like, so no disrespect to the new Lions offensive coordinator, John Morton, but he's got to prove himself to me. And there's this narrative out there that there's a huge gap, or at least there was, I think, between Detroit and Green Bay. But if you remember, their first time that they played last season, Green Bay basically they moved the ball up and down the field, but they struggled in the red zone. But it was a driving rainstorm. In the second game, Detroit won, but it was a field goal as time expired. So I don't think the gap between these two teams was that huge to begin with. Now you throw in Parsons, of course, that's, if Parsons plays or not. Definitely their interior line has taken a hit with Clark going out. But Green Bay is one of the most stable teams in the NFL. I like Jeff Hafley, their DC, their defensive coordinator. They took a big step last year. So, and Green Bay's got this massive turnover on their coaching staff. So that does have an effect on teams. I mean, Dan Campbell's great, awesome, love Dan Campbell, but you can't lose as many coaches as he has and not have it have some effect on the team. But I think even more so is them losing Frank Ragnow, their center. That's a key loss. So Detroit's got better skill possession players, I would argue, across the board. But Matt LaFleur, now I'm saying they've got the edge, the Green Bay coach, for the play calling. So this is one of those who do you pick type things. And to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure. It's kind of a pick 'em.
It is. It's only 1.5 in the handicap as well.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, if I had to, I'd probably take Green Bay. I'd give points and take Green Bay.
Yep, I could see why, Brad. I could really see why. Green Bay are the slight favourites, and we are in Green Bay as well. So that's the other consideration. I wonder whether the Lions sort of take a little bit step back in the passing game this season as well. Jared Goff is obviously the glue that has been holding everything together for a few years, but I think in this interim part, without Ben Johnson steering the ship in terms of a proper passing game, I wonder if we see a lot more of a return to sort of just the ground game and sort of heavy smash 'em up football. And I like Jahmyr Gibbs a lot for that this season too. And that's actually my betting line for this one is Jahmyr Gibbs 80+ yards on his alternate rushing yards. Is it sitting at 245? And I kind of like that because I really feel like they might go back to way more ground and not enough passing. So
cool.
Righto. One more for the Sunday slate of games. Ravens at Bills, Brad, really quickly. Ravens at Bills.
Yeah. Ravens at Bills. I mean, this is, your marquee matchup, really.
Week one.
Yeah. It's, and this is hats off to the NFL for doing this. You know, not being afraid to throw these massive games out there on week one. They don't necessarily have to do that, but I think it's pretty impressive. So we saw them last time we saw them. They play in the divisional round in January. The line was basically a pick 'em. It's like, you know, who are you going to choose? And guess what the line is now? It's a pick 'em. Who are you going to choose? Buffalo, they kind of retooled the defense a little bit. And you know, under their coach, that he's going to have them defensively ready, I think. But I just think the Ravens are so hungry, and they left last season with a real bad taste in their mouth. And they've got Zay Flowers, which they didn't have last time. They've got Keaton Mitchell, their kind of little scat back guy. He's healthy. They didn't have him last time for the playoffs game either. So, in Baltimore, they outplayed Buffalo in my opinion, last year as well. It didn't always break their way, but they did. So I'm leaning a little bit towards the Ravens on this one. Getting a point. What is it? A point and a half?
No, just half, Brad. Half a
just
point.
Just a half.
Just a half. It is an absolute pick 'em.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Right. I think I'd still take the Ravens on this. But no matter what, this is must see TV.
I'm going the other way, Brad. I'm going Bills.
Yep.
So in that coin flip, I'm going Bills. I think they're just as hungry, and I think that they didn't like the way last season ended with that loss against the Chiefs. You know, so so I really don't think they were happy with that. You know, a 3-point loss in a championship game. No, they could have got to a Super Bowl. You know, they're that close. Way closer than the Ravens were. Coincidentally. So yeah, I think that they will be better. So I just like them a lot more for that.
Okay.
They're going to be hungry. There's a few, I haven't really put a betting line on this. The over-under the points is at 50.5. I like the over with these two teams. I really like the over. I feel like this is Sunday night football is going to be score fest.
Yeah. Here's a stat to kind of back that up. 77% of Baltimore games last year went on the over. So that was tied for the highest rate in the league. So yeah, I can totally see what you're saying. And I don't fault you for taking Buffalo on this. I think they got obviously just as good a chance as the Ravens do.
I mean, the match tips on Sportsbet go against us in that way, because 4 of the last 5 games between these two have gone under. But I feel a lot of those games are at the back end of the season when it is very cold.
And injuries have taken their toll.
Yeah. But they're playing in places like Buffalo where they will be playing in snow. And generally that's not high passing games. But we got week 1. This will be a high passing game. A couple other really quick lines, Brad. I haven't put one on. I haven't really decided on one for this yet. James Cook and Josh Allen are both at $2, just over $2 for anytime touchdown scorers. They lead any of the Buffalo touchdown scorers in that. Lamar Jackson 2+ passing touchdowns is at $1.83. That's crazy to me. And Derrick Henry, you have to go all the way to 90+ yards before you get over $2. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think there's a lot of good value in this, and it's hard to choose even just one. But I'd lean Buffalo, Brad's leaning Ravens. Let's see how we come out of that on the other side of the week.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of appropriate. It's a pick 'em.
It is. All right. Last one for the week. We have gone over a little bit on our time, but that's okay. It's because it's just Brad and I shooting the shit, apparently. Vikings at Bears, Monday Night Football in Chicago. There's an awesome storyline here. Of course, these are two NFC North rivals, so it is another NFC North matchup. Caleb Williams is in their new head coach, new coordinators. JJ McCarthy finally on the field for the Vikings. Interestingly enough, there's photos circulating just the last couple of days. JJ McCarthy, as a kid, his parents, his family is from Chicago. And there's some pictures of JJ McCarthy at the first ever NFL game he attended, which was a Chicago Bears game in his Bears gear. And this is his return. Basically, first real NFL game is in Chicago against the Bears. So the first game of his career. So interesting little storyline just to start that off, Brad.
Yeah, I like that.
I think this is a great matchup to see. Let's go to the Chicago side. Is how does Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams how have they come together? He's been talking Caleb Williams up, saying that he is actually a freak and he's really enjoying this whole process with Caleb so far. And he's been pushing him every single day to be better. And yes, make mistakes because you need to make mistakes because if you don't make mistakes, you don't learn. And I love hearing that from a coach, by the way. And on the other side of the ball, it is the league's sort of new quarterback whisperer in Kevin O'Connell with a second-year rookie and a guy who is essentially a rookie because he didn't play a single snap of NFL football last year, coming out and seeing how he is with one of the sort of most talented offensive rosters in the league. And then you've got Brian Flores, who has the Vikings loaded up on defense again.
Jeez.
Yep. How does these teams all match up together? I love this again for week 1, Monday Night Football as an island game. It's going to be amazing, Brett.
You bet it is. There's so much uncertainty around these offenses. Basically, Chicago's the hot chick that just moved on the block, and everybody wants to see her walk out to her car. But it's just they're the trendy pick, but are they really of anything of substance? Like when you go up and talk to the person, can you actually carry on a conversation, or not? And I think it is going to be legit. And I do think Chicago is going to be under Ben Johnson is going to be okay, but I don't know. I don't think right away. I think it's going to take some time, and I think like what you said. The Minnesota defense is just phenomenal. They really are, and they're even better than what they were last season. And you've seen Brian Flores; his defense really causes havoc against young signal callers, young quarterbacks. So I think that is just something that is going to come into play here. I think Chicago. I know it's historical, but let me just throw some of these stats at you. Chicago has a league worst 5-19 record in division games over the last 4 seasons, including 1-7 against Minnesota during that time. The Vikings have a league best 26-4 record in the regular season when they're the favorite since hiring Kevin O'Connell. Chicago's only scored 2 of 17 opening drives last season, and this is get to one of my bets. Chicago's scored on 2 of 17 opening drives. That's the lowest rate in the league. So they were the worst first quarter performing offense in the league. And opponents have scored only 3 out of 17 opening drives against Minnesota. So they have one of the best defenses in the league for the first quarter. So I would, in that bet, I forget what the line is right now, but I would, if you want to get granular, take the under in the first quarter, or take Chicago to be Minnesota to win the quarter in that bet as well.
Oh, so you want to know what the line is for the quarter, Brad?
Yeah, for the first quarter of that game. I did know it, but I've forgotten it.
Let's have a look at first quarter markets on Sportsbet. Shout out Sportsbet. You can sponsor us if you like.
Absolutely.
The first quarter total is at 7.5.
Yeah. So I don't see Chicago scoring, to be honest with you, in that first quarter. I really don't.
Wow. Okay.
So they're going to they'll get 1 or 2 possessions, and I think I think you'll see maybe the Vikings score on this, but again, you got McCarthy, his first real snaps. So I think that first quarter is just going to be ugly.
Yeah. Okay. Righto. That's a cool line, Brad. I love that you go deep into some of those quarter markets and stuff. Like I just look player props all the time and just to see how they go. I think there's a line here to see who's going to have more passing yards between Caleb Williams and JJ McCarthy, and it is currently sitting just in favour of McCarthy, but I actually think the other way.
Really? Yeah. No, I think it's going to be the other way too, because I think they'll get down, and then you're just going to see Williams just air it out.
Yeah, yeah. I think I just think because he's had that time in the league too, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And as great as sort of the Bears rushing is, or their rushing corps, it's not Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. So I feel like the Vikings are probably going to want to establish the run a lot more, let McCarthy get settled, let him find some rhythm, have some positive drives, and then just move on from there. If this was later in the season and when they match up later in the season, I would probably be all the way the other way. But at the moment in this game, I feel like Caleb Williams more passing yards than JJ McCarthy. It's like $1.86 at the moment too, so pretty good.
I would like to parlay those. I don't know if you can or not, but if you parlayed the passing yards with the first quarter, that would be
that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't tried, and I could probably try.
That's all right.
Yeah, parlay, Brad. We all know what you're talking about. But yeah, I mean that's on apart from if you want player prop bets, there is some really good value in anytime touchdown scorers for both teams. Most of them are in the mid $2 range.
Okay.
All the big guys, even Jefferson $2.30, Swift is at $2.40, Roma Dunze at $2.90 could be an interesting one. He's been going quite well, so in camp that is.
Yep.
Yeah. Aaron Jones, Jordan. You know what? Adam Thielen $4.25. Feed me an Adam Thielen return touchdown. No, it won't be this week. That'll be our first home game. They'll have Thielen died up for a TD play for certain.
The crowd would go absolutely ballistic.
It would be wild. Next week, I'm going to start wearing my Thielen jersey on here now. Yeah. So, all right. Week 1 previews done and dusted. Been a great night, Brad. Great little chat. I love the way that this has gone. So hopefully everybody else likes the way we've talked about these too, Brad.
Yeah, no, it's been good. And I'll just end my on this. Travis Kelce, take him for over, I think it's 5.5 receptions, and Aaron Jones 2.5 receptions. Parlay those 2 bets.
Ooh, that's pretty good. I like that. Yeah, so hopefully you like this format. Let us know if you do, if you don't, some changes, just like, follow, comment, do all that sort of stuff we talked about at the top of the show. And check us out everywhere, Linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. Thanks very much for joining us, and we will see you on the other side of week 1 for an overreaction show. See ya.